This is Russell Smith in Los Angeles with, it's February 2015. I'm with my Windup pieces number 10 and number 14. I'm presenting these together because in a sense the piece on the right is a follow to the piece on the left, the simpler one. So let's go over here to this number 10. This piece operates on the idea that sometimes simplicity is best. So this basically is a simple ratchet mechanism. It just works extremely well. Makes a great sound. And it's fun to slow way down. See how slow I can get it to run. Simple motor, simple mechanism. Somewhere along here in the series, I started dropping the frame down in, the mounting box down inside the main pedestal. I like the look of this. It has a disadvantage in that the piece can't be separated from the pedestal, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so keeping this in mind as kind of as the prototype as to how to make a ratcheting figure, I noted here the lizard-like look of this. So I thought, well, maybe why not try this again, but actually turn the ratchet figure into some kind of a beast in its own right. I thought about a lizard, but ended up, as you can see over here, going to a bird. The ball on the tail is necessary to counterbalance and have the bird rock backwards as it's ratcheting. So this piece is a follow-up to the one on the left. We'll fire this up. I considered having it ring a bell or something every time the wheel went around, or maybe increment a counter, but decided just to put Mark I gear with a little splash of color, a little copper rivet there, so it gives the eye something to follow as the bird works his way around. This one can be slowed down quite a bit. The runtime on this guy's about 10 minutes, and I've done a few sittings with it where I'll just sitting with it running at about this speed, eyes shut, just listening to the rhythm. I originally built it up onto a different framework with a different motor. I got to the end, the motor did not have enough power to pull it, so I basically just pulled the top off the wheel and the bird, and then went to another motor with more power. This motor is kind of unusual. I haven't seen one like it. I want to point out one thing here about the governor. Notice these. See if we can get in here. See those weights. Those are polished brass squashed spheres. And as the motors developed over time, they ended up just slapping on a couple of lead, a few really heavy steel weights with sort of no form. But in the early days of these motors, even though the motors were going to be buried deep inside of a phonograph and nobody but a mechanic ever would see them, they just did an exquisite job of finishing and machining. And you could really, I have motors running from 1895 through 1940, and you can see the whole evolution of technology from polished cast parts up through stamped steel and bent tabs and all the stuff we see today. So there's the bird. These 3 layers. There's ball bearings down in here. Note the sculpture of the claws. Underneath his claws is a ball bearing on each side. There's also ball bearings in these joints. You need to. One of the real challenges with this work is to reduce friction, because you're really in a limited box of what the motors can do. So in a sense, the whole series I'm working within the limits of the motors, and I'm working sort of within spatial limits of a 1 foot square base. And actually I find these limitations to be really liberating rather than constraining. The idea as an artist of being able to just make anything in any medium of any size is simply overwhelming. So I think there's something to be said for picking the size of the work you're going to do, the materials you're going to do, and then just working out the possibilities within that cage. Those of you that have seen my discussion of the gorilla and his cage kind of can see how I'm thinking about that. So anyway, that's it for these two, and that's it for this little video series. I guess more later. All the best. Bye-bye.